Princess Diana's greatest legacies is her charity work, organizations that still benefit today because of all the recognition she gave them. At the time, organizations that were considered difficult or not very popular, controversial even. It was the fact the world listened to what she had to say because of the kind of woman she was. Although her charity work began largely because of her position within the royal family, Princess Diana was a tireless supporter of numerous charities. She commanded an international audience, and her beautiful face and voice brought immediate attention to the many causes she championed. Let's take a look back to the year 1987. You may recall Diana was one of the first high-profile people to be seen touching someone with AIDS, a gesture that had significant impact in changing people's opinions and attitudes about the disease. Diana was also very devoted to the campaign to ban landmines, remnants of wars taking place in Europe, Asia, and Africa. Her efforts provoked an international reaction and brought the issue to prominence in a way that few others could have achieved. She educated the world about the thousands of people killed or blighted by landmines, a large number of them children. What many remember about her is that Diana had a very personable touch. She was very at ease with people who were sick or extremely poor. They instantly warmed to her heartfelt energy because part of her appeal was her deep and genuine compassion. When the princess decided to scale down her work in 1996, more than 100 organizations were named as having been recipients of her time and backing. At that time, she decided to concentrate her efforts on just 6 organizations that were especially near and dear to her heart. They include the International Red Cross, the Leprosy Mission, which treats leprosy sufferers in over 30 countries, the National AIDS Trust, children's hospitals, organizations working with homeless youth, and cancer treatment and research.
It's so true. I think that people felt so drawn to her because of her soft, compassionate nature, and she really came across that way. I had a friend who met her once that said she is more beautiful and more amazing in person than she ever could appear to be on television or in pictures.
Well, and you know, I have had the opportunity to do a little more just research, kind of digging into who she was as a person, and I love the charity aspect of her life. In fact, I found this amazing quote from her where she says, "Nothing brings me more happiness than trying to help the most vulnerable people in society. It is a goal, an essential part of my life, a kind of destiny. Whoever is in distress can call on me. I will come running wherever they are." And that was so true because all ends of the world she traveled to, and especially the crusade to elevate the plight of people who were suffering from these landmines, because that really was an international problem, an international horror that before she turned her attention to it really did not get any recognition at all.
We can't really relate to it as much here in America because it's not a problem that we have, but in Europe and Africa it's quite a big thing, and it's mostly children who are the people who suffer from that.
Exactly.
Lose a limb or die because of those mines that have been there. Some of them from World War II.
Right, and of course during the 80s when we were learning about AIDS initially in the early 80s, and then of course as the sufferers became children, became people who were then really ignored by the rest of society because of so much fear and because of ignorance. When she embraced them, it really opened the door for people to give that compassionate touch to that illness. Just incredible. Well, like her wedding, I remember exactly where I was when Diana was killed in a car crash in Paris in August of 1997. I was expecting my 3rd child, and I cried for 3 days. I was so touched. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I remember staying up all night into the morning because it happened on a weekend. I couldn't believe it, and I just was glued to the television to just get all the information that I could about what had happened and why. The world watched as news of her death spread. She died hours after that accident in a Paris hospital.
In the days to come, more than 175,000 letters and 150,000 cards were received at Kensington Palace, and another 200,000 letters and tributes were taken to St. James Palace.
We'll have much more on that when we come back.